What's up, everybody? Albert again with Plano Trade and Exchange, and I just wanted to showcase my collection from as it stands, or at least just showing the cards that I got all last year. Because something that I did pretty early on in 2023 was just sell off a lot of the cards that I wasn't as passionate about, but still liked a lot. Just because the market was still a little bit more elevated with a lot of cards in general. So I sold them off and I thought, man, if I really miss them, I can always get them down the road later on for a cheaper price. Um, at least for some of the cards, not a lot of them. But, anyways, I sold off a lot of them and actually had a 3 road and a much bigger graded case. So right now I've got like just a small 2 row one. I believe this can hold 70 or 80. I can't remember. It's not a whole lot, but I decided to consolidate my collection. Oh, and there's a deck box. I'll get to that later. Um, but I decided to consolidate a lot just because I was actually inspired by a Strictly Sealed video of this one guy who had a smaller box like this, obviously, just with, you know, super, super high end Pokemon and Yu Gi Oh cards that were, you know, even though the quantity of his collection wasn't very large, the quality of each card was absurd. And so it kind of inspired me and motivated me to maybe downsize to some cards that I just really, really absolutely need to stick with, both because I love them a lot, just because they're really neat cards, but also because, yeah, they're probably cards that'll, supposedly increase in value over time. Um, Lord willing, they do that, but all in all, I think these are very desirable cards to every collector. So I'm just going to show the ones that I got from 2023. Um, and the first ones are these two. I got these max faded vanilla cards. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh at all back in the day, you knew who these cards were and what they were. The issues with the grades, while they're not higher, is because PSA doesn't recognize faded cards as mint cards. They're considered damaged to PSA, and so that's mainly why this shield got an 8 or a 9. What? An 8 is because of that. And then there's also a foil pack line kind of going down the middle, very faint. You can't really see it, but anyways, this was a CGC 9, and I decided to crack it because I thought I had seen PSA, basically say like faded cards aren't damaged anymore, and so I was like, cool, okay. I saw a couple submissions where they weren't docked because of that, and so I subbed these, and obviously it didn't work out in my favor. But yeah, and the mechanical chaser just has a bit of whitening at the top, and honestly, that's it. I don't really know what else. I mean, it's OC from top to bottom, but like, I don't know why that would warrant a 7. But yeah, I mean, I really do think the Millennium Shield could gem, so I might sub that with CGC. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Chaser, but yeah. So starting off with those two. Next, let's see. Just trying to sort through these real quick. Next, of course, is a card that I love dearly, and was a card that I think a lot of people do. But yeah, I got this Dark Magician Girl, PSA 9 first ed. I believe this was actually a CGC 8.5. And when I cracked it and checked it out, I kind of just thought, like, man, this is way too mint to be an 8.5. And it does have some very minor scuffing on the back, so CGC is pretty harsh on scuffing. But yeah, PSA is not as harsh on scuffing. They would be very harsh if it was on the front, but not so much the back. And so I was able to get a little bit of it off, not a lot, but yeah, just one card. And this is a card that I am not personally super fond of, but it is just an iconic card to the franchise, and so I thought I'd just keep a high graded copy in my personal collection, and decided to pull the trigger on getting one this year. And yeah, I actually was pretty lucky with regrading that, as I am with quite a few of these cards. Next is my MRD Summon Skull, not faded, not the sample, nothing too crazy, but this was actually a Beckett 9, and I actually cracked all my Beckett slabs except a couple, because I thought, man, like, Beckett was just searching for issues with this card, but there was nothing wrong with it. And so I was kind of dumbfounded why it got the 9. So when I subbed it, got the 10 this year, I was pretty stoked about that. And next is a Charizard. I don't know why I'm covering the grade, but yeah, I actually picked this up probably in the middle of the summer. I really wanted a Charizard card, and so the guy that had it was actually on Facebook Marketplace. He said he was just looking for some trades and some cash, and so I traded him a bunch of basically most of my Pokemon slabs and then cash on top for this. And man, I'm in love with this card. I really wish I could get the Expedition and Skyridge versions of him, and of course the base set Shadowless Versted. I was on the hunt for that over the summer and decided to back out and wait to pick up one, but I'm glad I was able to pick this up, and it's actually retained its value since then, so pretty happy about that. Next is pretty big one, and that's the DDS Blue Eyes. I actually got this from, I believe it was Mercari. I can't remember. It was a lot of all three DDS cards. I think it was $2,000, which I thought was a steal because, I mean, if the cards were mint, and that was the big risk, is that you buy these lots and you just never know what you're going to get. They'll say they're mint and have no issues, but no, the guy wasn't kidding. He all three of them were actually mint, and so I was able to get this one, and I graded the other two, sold them off, and then I just kept this one. So really happy that I was able to get my hands on one of these finally. I wasn't sure if I ever would. Next is another card that was graded through. No, I got this in a old vintage collection, and it was a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. Nothing to it. I mean, it was super clean when I bought it. When I subbed it, got the 10, and I wasn't really surprised about that, but definitely a card that I am proud of. Next was a card that I got in a trade. So if you look at my Instagram page, you'll see that I had a wavy PSA 10 Gaia, the Fierce Knight, which is, I'm not a huge collector. Some of y'all might think, oh, that's not really a big card, but to me it was a big card. And I actually wasn't super fond of it because I like dragon cards a lot. So Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, Sierra, Judgment Dragon, Dark Arm Dragon. I like dragons. I just grew up liking like Godzilla and dinosaurs, and so I guess I hadn't grown up much, but yeah. I actually picked this guy up, so I traded that Gaia along with some cash on top to get this. And yeah, the reason why is you can see it's the Jinzo Jar. So you can see right above the eyes the Jinzo head. And I just remember seeing this as a kid and just, first off, being like, man, Morphing Jar is really powerful. And second, just knowing that there was a misprint out there just like blew my mind. And I always thought, like, as a kid, like, man, that must be so much cooler to have one of those. And 20 years later, 15 years later, whatever, now I own one, and this one did cost a pretty penny for me. This was probably the second most expensive item that I got this year, but super glad that I have it. And let's see, next I got this SM51 Blue Eyes White Dragon, just a gorgeous card. And I bought it. I did buy it at a time where I thought maybe it was a little high, but recently a 9, I don't know if it was a PSA 9 or a Beckett 9, went for about $1,800, something crazy like that, which was nice to see because maybe it was like $1,500-$1,600, but that was nice to see because I bought it for less than that, not too much less, but a little bit less, and yeah, I'm just overall happy that the market is still strong for these cards, and I think it just goes to show that like artwork can like just have a long-term value and desire, even though apparently there's a lot of these that exist. I don't really know a lot of people that are selling. I'm willing to let them go. And let's see, a couple more things. The biggest item that I got, which was a big goal of mine, for those of y'all who follow me on Instagram, for the longest time I was looking for this card, and it was the Shonen Jump Championship Cyberstein. This one to me was my holy grail, in addition to the wavy Blue Eyes, stuff like that, which I already have. But this one was a big deal to me because I remember as a kid just this card being insane, absolutely absurd, along with this guy, Mechanical Chaser. And yeah, man, I'm just super stoked that I got it. I got it at a pretty fair price. I didn't get like a steal on it or anything, but it was worth it to me at the time. And hopefully it retains its value, hopefully it grows. But I think out of all the cards I have here, this one and the DDS Blue Eyes, and maybe, I don't know, my Gilgarth PSA 10, where is it? Yeah, this guy. those are probably the last cards I would let go. But I did make an agreement with my wife, and I told her like, uh, the next time there's a market, the market starts to peak again. Hopefully within the next 5 years, I'll probably sell all these off, and then probably put the money towards a second house, because the current house we're in is great, but it's a little smaller, and I just want to have a bigger house in the future so that I can house relatives and friends and people that need a place to stay, stuff like that. Um, and that's it. So that's my collection. Those are my pickups for 2023. Let me know if you like this type of content. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of 2024, because I think it'd just be really cool to showcase this stuff. I also have a lot of ideas to just showcase like how I run my business, because it's I think a little more atypical than a lot of places. I'm very much not trying to scale up like some other people. Like, I'm trying to keep it small, but the capability and capacity to go up is there. But I just care about my time too much. But anyways, for those of you who want to stick around and see the Max Rarity Blue Eyes deck, here it is. I say Max Rarity, it's not quite there yet. There's a few pieces that I want maxed out. Whoops. I'm going to put it to the side so I don't spoil it. But there's nothing to it a whole lot. I am getting these in Ultimate Rare. This is more of a... don't laugh at me. Guys, I'm really bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! But also there's some cards I need to take out. That is not Max Rarity. But a lot of the essential Blue Eyes pieces are Max Rarity. So Trade-In's always going to be in a Blue Eyes deck. Levianeer is always going to be in a Blue Eyes deck. So is this. So a lot of the cards... yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. A lot of the cards you see here... man, I need to update this deck. But yeah, a lot of the staples, like you're always going to have Veilers, you're always going to have Jet Dragon. But like Assault Synchron, he will wax and wane. He might be reprinted into... he might actually just be banned soon, and he won't even be in here. So I don't really like take a lot of stock in the modern cards, or the cards that are going to be these combo pieces that might just be outdated. But cards that won't ever be outdated in Blue Eyes decks, I stuck around, or I'm going to keep in Max Rarity. So like these guys are these are Max Rarity, and I'm always going to keep these guys. I'm always going to see them as such. I have the Solemn Judgments in here because I was thinking about a control build. Yeah, then 1-for-1's always a staple in Blue Eyes decks, so that's maxed out. Of course, Red MD, I think. This is not the errata print, but let me see. Yeah, so, okay, it's not quite there, as you can see. It's not really all that impressive. And I also have two different types of Blue Eyes White Dragons. Whoops, that's the extra deck. Yeah, the extra deck too, I didn't max out, like, necessarily, because I feel like extra deck monsters always tend to phase in and out of the extra deck. There's always, like, 2 or 3 core essential ones. I think right now that's Phoenix, Karibo, Link Karibo, and Cerberus, but I don't know. Yeah, I need help deciding which kind of Blue Eyes I want. At first, I really loved these, but I kind of fell out of love with them. But I kind of like the SDK Ghost Verve, but also not really. So I'm honestly thinking about picking up a playset of like mod to heavy play DDS Blue Eyes. And then this I need to upgrade. Not just him. Where's the other one? The alternative White Dragons I need to update to the sweepstakes Blue Eyes alternative White Dragons. So I wouldn't honestly mind if they were like light play. But yeah, like these, as you can see, like, okay, I got the Ghost Rare. I was pretty excited about that. But then I realized, then the sweepstakes cards came out. And so I was like, well, should I get the other one as a Ghost Rare? Should I just aim for the sweepstakes one? So yeah, that's kind of what happened there. So it's not quite there, but I will get there. I do want to max out Imperms because I feel like you're just always going to play with Imperms. Oh, and this is missing Ash Blossoms, which those are in a different deck box. They're somewhere in here. This is like the side deck/deck building cards for it, just because I'm like so indecisive as to what I want in here. But I don't play a whole lot. I don't really have a ton of time to play. My job is pretty demanding. Between what I do full time and then what I do here with the cards, it's just a lot. I'm also a men's minister on the side for my church, and that also takes up a lot of time. And you know, that's something that that's something I actually want to grow more into as a full-time gig. But for right now, I need to, you know, just kind of grind it out with my full-time job and then the card stuff. But we'll get there when we get there. Ooh. Anyways, just wanted to do a more laid-back video with everyone, just to add some more content to the channel. I also picked this up in a collection. It's pretty cool. But anyways, let me know if y'all like more long-form content like this. And just let me know what you think about the pickups. I know they're not anything too crazy. I know there's people out there with much crazier stuff, but you know, I'm pretty proud of what I was able to pick up and what I've hung on to for up to this point. And for the most part, like, I'm not really in a lot of my personal collection by a lot of money. Like, I actually graded a lot of these myself, and so, you know, that's something else I'm pretty proud of. But yeah, anyways, thanks for checking it out, guys. God bless.